Can Bloom's taxonomy be helpful in prompt engineering? Let's find out. So Bloom's taxonomy has 6 levels. The level at the bottom being the most fundamental or lower order of cognition, going all the way to the top, which are the highest orders of cognition. So let's try applying this to using Google Bard to create a podcast or to help us with a podcast. All right, so and this is helpful in the context of the fact that in prompt engineering, one of the 2 main categories of prompts are prompts that begin with verbs. Prompts that begin with verbs. You'll notice that in Bloom's taxonomy, all of these are verbs like define, duplicate, classify, describe, execute, implement, etc., etc. So let's go to Google Bard. All right, so at the first level, we have recalling basic facts and concepts. So let's say define podcast. Define podcast. All right. So it's given us a definition and it's given us some examples. Let's go on to the next level. Understand. All right. So let's say classify some different kinds of podcast. All right, interview podcasts. And it has pictures. How about that? Conversational podcasts, educational podcasts, solo podcasts, narrative podcasts, comedy podcasts, music podcasts, sports This is amazing. News podcasts, podcasts for kids. Okay, very good. All right, let's go on to the next level. So use information in new situations. So we can use verbs such as execute, implement, solve, use, demonstrate, interpret, operate, schedule, or sketch. All right. Let's say let's try sketch. This will be interesting. Sketch. I don't know if that's going to work. Well, what are we going to do here? All right, well, let's try this verb sketch. All right, let's say sketch an outline of an educational podcast. Educational podcast about homesteading. This will be interesting. All right. It's given, let's see, how many episodes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like that. Very good. Okay. Let's go on to the next level of Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, so here we are at the analyze level. So we have verbs such as differentiate, organize, relate, compare, contrast, distinguish, examine, experiment, question, test. All right. So let's see. Okay, let's try this. Differentiate between a good podcast about homesteading and a bad podcast about homesteading. Let's see what this has to say. I'm not convinced that as we get into these higher levels, how useful it's going to be. All right, so this is, okay, this is giving us some, wow, okay. This is actually giving us some specific podcasts, which are good. I wonder if it has some bad ones. Okay, so it gave us some good ones. It's not throwing the bad the bad podcast under the bus. All right, let's see. Evaluate. Okay, so let's ask it to critique. Critique critique the urban homestead podcast. No idea what it's going to do. Wow. Okay. Amazing. It's given us some pros and cons. Now the critique is a little bit general, but you know, for a what is that? A five-word prompt. That's amazing. All right, let's go to the highest level. Is produce a new or original work. So let's okay. Let's see. Let's try a few of these. Design a podcast which would be even better than the urban homestead. All right. Focus on a niche. Interview experts. Include practical advice. Be engaging and entertaining. Some specific ideas. Okay. And let's drill down into one of these. Okay. Let's try this one. Conjecture. Conjecture. What would be the qualities of a podcast episode about collecting rainwater, which would make it extremely popular? All right, we're kind of getting a lot of the same kind of information. It's informative, it's engaging, it's relevant, it's well produced, and it would deal with specific topics. But this has been a useful exercise for me just to kind of get an idea of some of the things that Bard can do. I don't really feel like there was a lot of differentiation between these 6 levels, but what I hope that this showed to you is that there's a lot of different verbs that can be used to begin a prompt, and that if you have a lot of these different verbs in your tool belt, that you can really create some interesting output. You can get some interesting output, some helpful output. So remember the power of Bloom's taxonomy in prompt engineering.